Hi everyone, I'm Ajay. I'm a Microsoft certified solution developer, and today we are going to talk about an outstanding use of an extension method in C Sharp.net. So let's get started. So first of all, let's understand what extension methods are. Well, extension methods are a special kind of static method which allows us to add additional methods without modifying, deriving, or recompiling the original class, struct, or interface. Well, extension method can also be added to our own classes, and it could be a .NET Framework class or any third-party classes or interfaces, provided that classes are not marked as sealed. And they are heavily used in linq to extend functionality of IEnumerable and generic IEnumerable interfaces. So to understand it in more detail, I have already created a console application, so let's head towards it. So, well, in the interest of time, I have already created a console application to understand this outstanding use of an extension method. Well, I have created an interface. Let me walk you through the classes or interfaces that I have created for this example. I have created an interface which contains a method get details, and we want to implement this method in each and every class where we want to print all the details of a specific class. And then I created a person class which contains two properties, and these are first name and last name, because every person will always have a name, right? And then I created two more abstract classes. One is student and another is employee. Well, student contains student specific information like roll number of a student, and employee class contains employee specific information like employee ID. And then I further inherited student class into two child classes, which are school student and a university student. And same for employee. Employee can be an hourly paid employee or it can be a salaried employee. So let me show you all those classes and interfaces that I have talked about. So first of all, let's see where is this person interface. So I have created this iPerson interface where we put this get details method, and we want to implement this method in each and every class, right? And then I created a person class which contains two properties, first name and last name, right? And then I created a student class which inherited from person class, which contains first name and last name. And then in this student class, this is an abstract class. In this student class, we contained roll number and class name properties in this student class. And then student can be of two types. Well, a student can be a school student or a student can be a university student. And in those classes we maintain school specific or university specific information. So let's see what's inside them. And as you can see, I have just added two properties to these classes, like what is the name of the school and about the monthly fee details for a particular school. And then we also implemented iPerson interface in this class because we want to print all the details of a student, like name of the student or his class, or maybe his school name. And then I also did the same thing in university student by putting university specific information like semester fees and university name, right? So simple and straightforward, nothing magical here, as you can see. And a student is a person, and same goes for employees. Let's just assume in this domain of our application, we need to maintain two different entities. One is employee and another is student. And same for employee. Well, employee is also a person. It is inherited from person class, which contains first name and last name properties. And then we added a new property to this class, which is employee ID. And and then employee can be further divided into two different categories, like hourly paid employees and salaried employees. Well, hourly paid employees contains hourly specific information like number of hours a particular employee worked and wages per hour. And then we just implemented this interface to get the details of this particular employee. And in this salaried employee, I we just maintain salaried specific information of a particular employee, and then we just put the details of we just show the details of this particular employee. And in this static void main, let's just create some instances and just run through these classes, and then we'll see that practical scenario or practical situation where we can use extension methods test. So I have already created some test data, and to print both the employees we can print like this console.log, and then we can just, or maybe we can just since they are both inherited from iPerson class, so I can put them in a list of iPerson so that we can iterate through them. And so here is Jack and one is Oliver, right? And then just iterate through them. Amp dot get details, right? Let's give it a go. So we created two employees, we put them into an array of iPerson, and here we can see the details, right? And same we can achieve with students. I have already created some students, and let's just put them here. And we can also put these students into an array of iPerson, because this student class inherited from iPerson interface. So we can say, okay, number of students, and then Peter, and then Stephen, right? Stephen. And then we can iterate through them to get the details of these students. So and let's run it, and here we can see student details and employee details, right? So this is simple straightforward example where we created some classes, we inherited those classes from a common interface and some abstract classes, and nothing magical here, nothing tricky here in this example. But here comes the important part, or the main part of this video. That's why I decided to make this video. So now after some days we get a requirement from our client that we want to put all the details, as we have a method like get details for employee, for every student, whether it is a a university student, whether it is a school student. Now after some days we get a requirement from our client which says that we need to put every bit and pieces of details of student or maybe employee into a log file. So what options do we have in that case? So one option that comes to my mind is to add a new method to this interface, like string put details to log file. And as soon as I do this and then start building the app solution, I'll get 4 errors. Why? Because this enforces our child classes that they need to implement the same method in 4 places, right? So, and what if we inherited this interface into 10 or 20 classes in our application, and we have a large application? But the requirement is, no matter it is a hourly employee, it's a salaried employee, it's a school student, it's a university student, or any kind of person, we just want to put data to log file. It's a common requirement across all the classes, no matter whether it's an employee, it's a student, it's so. What options do we have? One option that I shared with you, to add a new method to this iPerson interface and then implement this specific method into concrete classes. But again, I'm repeating myself, we need to, this is a common requirement. There is nothing specific to any concrete class. So as soon as we add a new method, we need to implement this method. So just remove it from here. We don't want to do this. Now what other options do we have? So another option is, well, let's see in the hierarchy. Okay, now we have two abstract classes, one is student and another is employee, as you can see. So another options could be, like adding details here, public void put details to log files. And now here we can write some methods, right? But now, but this only satisfy requirement for this student specific class or student specific concrete classes, first of all. So we need to repeat the same thing for employee, first of all. And second, we don't have access to all of the properties here, because we have two more concrete classes below this employee class, in which we put our concrete classes specific information, and we also want to put them into log files. I hope you understand what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is, so if it would be good if we could put this method inside these concrete classes, because here we have access to all the properties, right? So now, and I just want to put these details, like whatever this get details method returns, I want to put these details to log file in a specific way, to be specific. So okay, so in this approach we need to repeat ourselves two times in two different abstract classes, and we don't have access to this get details method in this class. So this approach is also not going to work for us. Now let's create an extension method in this case. And most of us already worked with extension methods, and we also created some extension methods while doing some development work. But most of the time we end up writing extension method for classes. But let me share with you that we can also extend methods on interfaces. So let's create an extension method on an interface, and all the concrete classes are inherited from iPerson interface. So let's go to extension. I have created a person extension class. This is just a naming convention, which object whatever object you are extending, and then just put extension along with that. And extension methods, as I already shared with you, are just static methods inside a static class. And whatever object you want to extend, you just need to put this keyword before that object. And I have created an extension method which is put data to log file, and we are extending this iPerson interface, right? And we are just saying here file.append all text. So we are adding text to D drive in this file people details.txt, and we are just calling this get details function and adding a new line. Simple. So nothing magical here. So what it does is, it will automatically add this put data to log file method to iPerson interface, and it will automatically be added to all the classes, no matter how many classes we inherited from this interface in our whole application. So let's see it in action. So Okay, now as we iterating through our employees, if I say if I say emp dot, here you can see put data to log file, because you know we have created an extension method and this symbol denotes or says this is an extension method. So let's call this extension method. And same for our students. And let's give it a go. We don't see any printing on console window because we put the data to log file. And let's see and let's check what we have got in our text file. Here you can see peopledetails.txt. This is the file. So that's the point that I wanted to share with you, that we can extend our interfaces. We can we can add methods to our interfaces as well. And as I shared with you that these are chiefly or mainly used in linq expressions, or maybe linq with IEnumerable or generic IEnumerable interfaces. Let me show you one more example in which Microsoft used extension methods. Let me share with you one more example. As I already shared with you that these extension methods are heavily and mainly used in linq with IEnumerable and generic IEnumerable interfaces. Interfaces were one of the driving forces behind the development of extension methods, and that's why they introduced extension methods. So let me give you one more example where Microsoft used extension methods. So let's say I'm creating a stack of numbers and just putting some numbers in it. Push 10 and maybe push 20, numbers dot push 30. So and let's create a queue int numbers queue dot nq 200 and numbers dot nq and 500, let's say, right? And also I added two more, right? And if I say okay, numbers dot can you see this arrow numbers dot, right? If I say numbers dot means we want to get a minimum number from the numbers of stack, right? So if I click on this and I press F12, there you have it. This is IEnumerable class, this is static class, and these all are extension methods. As you can see, Microsoft extended IEnumerable interface here. And any class that is inherited from IEnumerable or maybe enumerable interface, as you can see, any class which is inherited from IEnumerable interface will have all of these methods like all, average, mean, max, first, last, first row, default. So any like list, linked list, or IEnumerable of list. And if I go back to this, let's say and let's see the same on queue, numbers queue dot mean. If I press F12, and you can see, this is in extension methods. So this is how Microsoft extensively used the extension methods on IEnumerable classes, on IEnumerable interface. So thanks for watching this video.